Brave Season 4 really started in 2019 and it ran through the present, really April 2021. We met a lot at the Whole Foods Community Room, and during this season obviously is when COVID happened. So a lot changed during the season, and thankfully we were already sort of preparing to do more things online. And God had really prepared us the whole year before without us realizing for what was about to hit. But yeah, we did a couple at Centricity, at their building in Franklin, Tennessee. Of course, we kicked it off with the Ireland trip. And then at Hope UC was also where we did several events kind of interspersed, especially when they were at their smaller location. But I would say most of our events during this season happened online. The pillar for this season is Amanda Blankenship. So we met Amanda, crazy enough, through a Facebook ad that she saw for one of our conferences that happened in season 3. And Amanda came to the conference with a friend, really deeply connected with the heart of Brave Worship. She came on both of the trips that we did, and very quickly became an integral part of everything that we do. She has a really beautiful heart for championing songwriters and for listening to the heart of the Father. She is a beautiful mix in creativity and also that administrative piece, which is really hard to find. And she knows how to delegate things to teams. She's really helped us a lot in kind of raising up all of those teams that were, we were really one team before, we became more teams during this season, and she was a big part of that. And she now is also partnering on the writing worship side of things, which we'll talk about, really leading up our membership side of things. So that's where she gets to put that heart of championing songwriters into practice in an everyday kind of way. So we had less events, I would say, during this period, again, in person, but we had more online. We started out, it was, that season of bliss where no one knew COVID was coming. And we had that trip to Ireland, which looking back, we were like, oh, we can't believe we got that in right before all of that happened. But Ray Hughes led our team again. It was a beautiful, incredible time. Not only this time did we get to go and learn about the history and about the worship and all of that, about that season, that region, but we got to write. But we brought some tools to some local worship leaders over there and songwriters, some of them writing for the first time the day that we wrote together. So we were able to teach and pour in and feel like we were leaving something behind. And of those songs, there were a couple that we did in the church service that next Sunday, the day after we had written them. And it was beautiful. I'd never seen anything like it. In fact, one of those songs will be coming out on our EP, which is coming up here at the end of the month. But so that was a beautiful piece of something that happened. We did writers rounds, we did worship live, and writing days. We did all of those things online during this season. And those things were kind of really established during the season. We learned a lot more about Zoom and about how it had breakout rooms, which worked perfectly when we did writing days. We sang at the Ryman Auditorium during this season, which was so exciting because we really wanted to have Ray come to town this year and I guess it was last year, 2020, do a tour of revival, the history kind of our town. And we were gonna end, we had this big dream of ending. I remember Jenny Sanders brought this up in one of our meetings, at the Ryman Auditorium and doing a worship night. Well, everything was canceled. Our tour got canceled. The year got canceled. But it was crazy. I got a phone call. They were doing this event downtown Nashville, this Pure River event, which was 24 hours of worship. And we got a last minute call to come and be a part. We got to sing on the Ryman stage the very week that we had planned that whole event for this last year, the very same week. It was the end of September 2020. It was a very exciting moment for us, and just this confirmation from God's heart that he heard us. we are not having as many meeting online because we've had this, what we call brave migration. So all of our coffee leaders have moved here, almost. And it's been crazy and beautiful and amazing, but God has been gathering us physically. And I think we've had 8 families move here from all different states. And it's just, we're preparing for season 5. We can feel it. A big part of this season was the gathering of the resources. And yes, the foundation kind of started in season 3, but they all started coming out during season 4. And I know this guy, Ray Nordhoff, who is really behind the scenes during this whole entire journey, but I'm super thankful that I had him beside me. Otherwise, none of this would have been possible. Literally, none of it. So, especially when it came to the resources, I could give Eric, okay, here's my book. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, here's a book study, and we're going to do this with it. And here's these pieces we're going to put out on Instagram. And here's this. And suddenly, he can see all of these ways to use the resources or ways to share the resources that I can't see. So that happened with the book, with the mentorship. Suddenly that became an online. I started in this small room with 12 people. Suddenly this became a online available course that we were doing. And eventually now we have 6 mentors that are leading groups through these mentorships that we're offering now 3 times a year. I think we've had 300 go through the mentorship at this point, which I'm blown away by. I never thought God would take what happened right here, actually in this very room, and be able to use it in a kingdom sort of way to that degree. So it's been beautiful to see that just sort of grow also. So we've been adding courses to everything that's been growing as well. So we've got a song admin course. We're doing a marketing course currently. That's coming out literally this week. We had a musicians course that came out, and of course the writing worship, which is a spin-off of my book, Writing Worship, which is what names all of our resources. They're all called Writing Worship. I had a dream last year, 2020, early, about someone named Next. And in this dream, I was marking trees, and I was clearing the path, and I was moving the berries close to the path, and I was planting flowers near some streams and clearing the grass so that there's a place for rest. And basically, I woke up literally writing this letter. Dear Next, you know, when you start on the journey, here's what you're going to find. We've cleared the path for this. I've cleared this for you. I want you to know there's going to be food for you. I want you to know there's going to be flowers that make it beautiful, and be looking for these things. And really, that is my heart for not only what we've been able to pull together this year as far as resources, but it gave us a clear picture of what's coming ahead of us. And that is, yes, we're learning these things. And yes, God is doing something amazing right now during our time. But we also turned a little bit. There's a little shift in thinking more about those coming behind us. How this is really a generational calling, a generational ministry. It's not even just something for this time. So to that end, we wanted to make it more feasible for people to give to what we're doing. So we partnered with Generosity Rocks, and we became affiliated with a nonprofit so that people could give, and it would also count towards our tax deductions for the year. And we learned really a lot about, I would say, stewardship. More than anything, how to steward these resources that God was giving us, and how to steward this community, how to love them well, how to help them grow, and then eventually how to launch them. And that's really the story of season 4.